On Syracuse Podcast, we're going to get into, can Syracuse's defense stop this Wake Forest offense? Because they're humming right now. Both of those units, the defense and the offense. We'll see what Syracuse can do to slow down Sam Hartman and crew. Also, of course, we're going to get you Dabbundo's digits, all the analytics that you need to know about this matchup, and we'll give you our prop shop picks as well. It's all coming up on the Locked On Syracuse Podcast.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to the Locked On Syracuse podcast, and thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen every single day. Remember, Locked On Syracuse, free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Also, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Just be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're in your feed first thing every single morning. The only place to get daily Syracuse Orange podcasts. Tim Leonard, Tyler Aki with you here on the show today. We've got all things Wake Forest. Busy hoops week too. We've got a lot of hoops things that we got to get off our chest as well next week. So we'll find some time for that. It's tough to find time for that during
Chris Bunch top 3. I mean, and also Taj Harris is getting offers out the wazoo. Yeah. It seems like from some SEC schools.
Andy Katz has Syracuse as a sleeper Final Four team this year. What's going on?
Okay.
What's going on here?
He's not a journalist. He's an idiot. So we don't really care for his take, right?
All right, let's get into Wake Forest here. Also, we're on Twitter at @LO_Syracuse. Check us out there. We love tweeting along with you during the games and stuff as well. So this Wake Forest team, they're good, man. I mean, believe it or not, they are the highest rated ACC team right now, which, what are we in, week 6 now of the college football season? Mm-hmm. Like, you told me Wake Forest was going to be the top dog in the ACC after week 6. I would have thought you were crazy. Like, obviously, they were going to be a much better team this year, but top-rated team in the ACC, coming in at number 19 in the country. A couple of things had to go wrong for that to obviously happen. First off, Clemson had to fall off a cliff, kind of like they have. But NC State also had to probably drop a game here or there, which they have done. So, but Wake Forest is a really good football team.
Yeah, they're a really good offensive team. And we talked about this week. I mean, it should, in theory, be the toughest test Syracuse's defense has seen so far this year, because Sam Hartman, he can run a little bit, and he can't run as much as Jordan Travis or Malik Willis could, but he can burn you deep. And they really haven't been tested vertically by an elite passer so far this year, or a team that is trying to throw the football deep as much as Wake Forest is trying to do it. So when I look at Wake Forest's numbers and I dove into them some more, I wouldn't say I was like overly impressed, or maybe even they're slightly worse than I was anticipating, but you can't really argue with the game results here. They crushed Virginia 37-17. Like, that's a good quality win. Say what you want about Virginia, they might be worse than people thought.
That's a good
into this year.
The Wake Forest had to slow down.
They took care of them, and they beat Florida State, who we didn't beat, but look, Florida State is not that good, so that doesn't scare me too much, that result, but they did beat Florida State pretty handedly, and then they beat Louisville last week, and I think Louisville is pretty good, and we'll see how Syracuse handles them later in the season. But yeah, this is a team that has executed in every game so far. They're pretty much exceeding expectations in terms of against the spread and those type of things, but their overall team stats don't really wow me, which is sort of interesting.
They've got some individual guys that really pop off the page, though. Sam Hartman, top 30 in the country in yards. He's looking like one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. I think right now the power ranking, it starts with Kenny Pickett over at Pitt, because he's been unstoppable. What does he have, like a 20-1 touchdown to interception ratio? Yeah. He's going to be like the next Joe Burrow, it feels like. And then after that, I mean, Sam Hartman's right there in that next class of quarterbacks in this conference right now. They're going to have to slow him down, because Malik Willis is good. I don't think Malik Willis has nearly the amount of help on his Liberty team that Sam Hartman has on his Wake Forest team. And I didn't like the game plan, really, that Liberty put together against Syracuse. A lot of stuff was long throws outside the numbers. That's not going to work against these Syracuse defensive backs. I think this Wake Forest team isn't going to be as afraid to go over the middle with some stuff and also hit you with a couple deep shots.
Right. And I got to say, we're going to pick the game later, but looking at the spread right now, betonline.ag, it's dropped to 5.5 as of us
Yeah.
recording this. It opened, I believe, at 7.5. So hopefully some Syracuse fans got that number. But that surprises me. And it's kind of funny that the way I feel about this game and the way I feel about last week's game on the road at Florida State is, all right, this is a game at Florida State we've got to win. And what was the spread last week? +4.5 or +5.5 is right where it's settled
Yeah,
at,
it rose
I
to
think.
5.5. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it rose to 5.5. This week, I feel like it would be a true quote unquote upset if Syracuse won this game. Now, maybe some fans disagree, but it's weird. It is a home game, whereas last week was a road game. And I didn't feel super great about Florida State, but I just find it fascinating that those lines are the same. And the money line, if you wanted to go that route, is the same when I feel like Syracuse had a much greater chance of winning last week. Now, I think this will be a competitive game, and we'll get into it, but the line's sort of puzzling to me that it's dropped to 5.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a little perplexed too. Wake Forest, obviously a top 20 team in the country and going on the road. But Syracuse, I mean, they're going to have to go shot for shot with this Wake Forest team. I would expect a lot of fourth down go for it on pretty much anything 4th and 3 or shorter. And you have to do that. We talked about this yesterday. You have to play for sevens. You're not going to win this game by putting up threes against Wake Forest.
Yeah, the tough part is, though, they're good on 4th down D and we're bad on 4th down offense. So I'm not saying go for it every time, but when you have the opportunities to strike here, you've got to strike. And the red zone offense is going to be very critical. I think that's where Syracuse sort of determines if they win or lose this game, is how effective they are in the red zone. In terms of can they slow down Wake's offense, I think they can to a degree, but Wake is going to get theirs, right? Like, I don't see them scoring less than 20 if they played this game
20. My number is like 28.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty confident in this team getting to the high 20s, 27, 28.
Yeah, I'm confident. If I had to peg a number for Wake, I would say they score between 27 to 35 points, or I'd probably go higher than 35 before I'd go lower than 27 on my estimate there. But what I'm saying is, best case scenario, Syracuse has to score 21, 24 points to win this game. And that is if the defense looks great against a really good Wake offense.
And this could be a game where the defense actually could struggle, because Wake's offense, let's start with the offensive line. They're allowing 1.4 sacks per game right now.
Yeah.
That's best in the ACC, top 30 in the country. They've got a really good unit in the trenches right now. That could neutralize one of Syracuse's greatest strengths. If Sam Hartman's got some time to throw back there, guess what? This defense can get picked apart. We saw it sort of picked apart last week a little bit, but that's something that you got to watch out for this week. And the defense might not get in the backfield as much as they have in games past.
Yeah, and look, Juice Chestnut's been really good. He's been burned on some double moves, though. Jihad Carter, is he going to play? How healthy is he if he plays? That's a big question mark for me, because I think Eric Coley stepped up well. He's made some big plays, but I'd like to have Jihad Carter back there, preferably the quote-unquote starter. And Jason Simmons has been kind of hit or miss for me.
And up and down,
watching back the film, there's about 2 or 3 plays each game where I'm like, hey, Jason Simmons, you made a nice play there. And then there's maybe 4 or 5 plays each game where I'm thinking, we probably, Jason Simmons let up a big play to happen there. And he's let up most of Syracuse's big plays, unfortunately, this year.
I look at, too, Syracuse has good corners. Wake's got some good receivers, too. When you look at Jakari Roberson, A.T. Perry has 4 receiving touchdowns already this season. They've got guys that can fly. They've got guys that can be possession guys, too, for them as well. This is a team that's going to move the football, okay? And it's going to have to be a bend, don't break for this defense. You know that they are going to get inside your 30-yard line on a good number of drives. It's going to be in that red zone percentage. We kind of talked about this, how for an offense, they want to be at about 75 to 80% of the top, 75 to 80% of the possible points. That's what they want. Syracuse is going to have to hold Wake to 60, 65% of the possible points. So let's just say you get into the red zone 5 times, you got to hold them to about 24-ish points.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I think what we're going to find out is which unit is most legit, the Syracuse defense or the Wake Forest offense. And I would probably lean Wake Forest offense right now. I think our defense is pretty much legit, but I'm really pretty scared about this Wake Forest offense. And also, I don't like the fact you hit on it earlier that they don't allow a lot of sacks, they don't allow a lot of tackles for loss, and they don't turn the ball over much. And I know Syracuse hasn't been,
and they
forcing a lot
turn
of
you over.
turnovers. Yeah, they do. But I know Syracuse hasn't forced a lot of turnovers so far this year. But in order to get a quote unquote upset or win a game that you're maybe not expected to win on paper, you'd like to get turnovers and you'd like to maybe get pressure on the quarterback and rattle them. And I unfortunately don't really see Syracuse doing either of those things in this game.
You need those sort of havoc plays, those crazy plays that go your way. It's the hidden yards on special teams that Syracuse is going to have to step up with, and it's also like you said, the turnovers and stuff like that. Those are some of the things that need to go your way. Discipline, another thing. Syracuse, a team that's gotten better with penalties, still not a great penalty team, but you got one on the other side, Wake Forest, that is super disciplined. In terms of the question that you posed of, we'll find out which, or I guess statement that you posed of which team is more legit. Listen. I think both can be true. Like
they're both
Syracuse
legit.
can still have I've seen enough from both units to know that they're both super talented. If Wake Forest blows the doors off of Syracuse's defense, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock and say Syracuse's defense has collapsed. And if Syracuse's defense shuts down Wake Forest offense, likewise, I'm not going to say Wake Forest offense isn't as good as I anticipated. I think both have shown enough to this point right now.
Yeah, I think they're both legit, but if one of them isn't legit, I think we find out in this game because the other unit will expose them in a way, probably.
Yeah, perhaps. All right. Did you know that Built Bar has so many delicious flavors? There's something for everybody. And when you talk to Built Bar fans, they're definitely passionate about their favorites. You know what Tim and mine is? We tell you every single time. It's the peanut butter brownie. You got to get it in that box every single time. Or if you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get yourself a mix box as well, where you'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. And not only are the Built Bar flavors the best tasting protein bars out there, but they're healthy for you too. 17 to 18 grams of protein, only 130 to 180 calories, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 net carbs. They've got amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy, whether it's fruit flavors, extra chocolate flavors, all that stuff. They've got it for you. They're the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team as well. So go to built.com, use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code Locked On for 15% off at built.com. So looking at some of the other specs with this Wake Forest team, we'll also get into the prop shop and all that stuff in just a little bit here. Just a couple other things I want to bring up here. You can move the ball on Wake Forest. 12th in first downs allowed. Yeah. However, it is kind of interesting. Okay, so they're 12th in first downs allowed. Actually, that's not interesting. I'm misreading my own notes here. They also are not a very good third down defense. I mean, they're 9th in the country, or in the ACC in third down defense. So you can move the ball on Wake Forest, and it's going to come down to, can Garrett Shrader put together some longer drives so the defense can recover a little bit, and can he hold on to the football? Because he has made a number of turnover-worthy plays, but doesn't necessarily have the turnovers to back it up. Eventually, water starts to find its level, and I'm afraid this could be the game against Wake Forest, because this is a Demon Deacons team. They've got 7 picks already this year. That's 10th in the country, and they can force fumbles as well. They've got 5 of those.
Yeah, and look, what Sterling Gilbert does right out of the gate here is going to determine this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
we cannot have a slow start. You can't have a slow start against Wake Forest.
You could recover against Florida State. You can't recover against Wake, because they're just going to keep scoring, and our defense is going to get more tired, and they're going to keep scoring and going up tempo, and it could get ugly. And Wake has had the ability to score a lot of points on Syracuse in the Dome at times this year. I think Dino's 2-3 against Wake. One of those, the Trill Williams play at the end of a couple years ago. We lost in like a monsoon way down in Winston-Salem way back. But most of these games have been high scoring, which it might be a reason to bet the over. We'll get to that. But I do think how Gilbert comes out. Shrader said something interesting in the press conferences this week. I think he said, like, our base offense didn't really work. So then we had to go to the other plays, basically. And we touched on that. They had to make adjustments. Well, I don't want to see that base offense again, because if it didn't work against Florida State, I know Wake's, you can score on them, but it's pretty obvious what we're doing in our base offense.
They're comparable defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like Wake and Florida State. Yeah. Really, I mean, again, we're going to say this every single show. I feel like we're obligated. We've gone about 15 minutes now without saying it, which feels like a record for this past week, but get him out of the pocket. Roll him out. Let him use his legs. Let him be dangerous on the outside. Seriously, it's not hard. Watch the games, and you'll see what works and what doesn't. And the other thing, too, Chris Elmore. Use him as a blocker. If I see him run a route in this game, I'll know they're doing something wrong. I mean, are you afraid of Chris Elmore, the receiver? No one is. Are you afraid of Chris Elmore, the blocker? I sure as hell am.
I'll allow a pop pass play like the Max Mang play to him, and hopefully he catches it. I'd rather see Max Mang
run that to Max Mang. Run that for Max Mang. Run that for. We'll see if we see Luke Benson in this game.
That's fine, like a red zone type thing that's trying to catch him off guard. But yeah, I agree. None of those 15-yard crossers.
You play 10 on 11 football when you do that. You do. Right. You take out one of your best blockers. You take them completely out of the offense, and that's just unacceptable to me. All right, let's get into the prop shop here. Some interesting ones that we've got here. We'll start with Garrett Shrader. Total touchdowns in this game. We're setting the number at 2.5. I like the over, and I like it pretty convincingly here. Listen, I think Syracuse is going to be able to score. Syracuse is going to be able to move the ball. And with the amount of first downs that they'll be able to get in this game, that puts them in the red zone, and that is where Garrett Shrader is at his most dangerous. This includes rushing. This includes passing. So I'm going to go with the over here. I like the over 2.5 of total touchdowns for Shrader.
I feel like I couldn't set it at 3.5, but I think the over is definitely the play here at 2.5 because, look, he's going to throw, I think, for a couple touchdowns in this game because Wake Forest, their passing defense is not good. They've allowed a lot of big passing plays this year. They can be gotten sort of through the air, and they're not going to be game planning to stop Syracuse passing-wise. So I think he will run in a touchdown. He'll probably throw for a couple. I'd say he maybe gets to 4 total touchdowns in this game.
All right, next up, we've got Sean Tucker, and we'll set his rushing total for the game at 105.5. By the way, our records from last week, not sterling for either of us. I was, 2-4. You were 1-5. And the only thing I hit was the spread. I hit Syracuse. We both whiffed on the under. And then we both hit on the longest touchdown.
It was like 3-0 after the first quarter or something, right? Yeah.
I don't know what happened. The second half killed us, but really like the final minutes of that middle 8 pretty much killed us in that game. Also, the longest touchdown we hit on over under 44.5 yards. We both hit on that one. We doubted Sean Tucker last week. We took his under of 90.5. He eclipsed that. This week, 105.5 is the number against this Wake Forest defense. What do you like?
He had 102 last week. He's consistently just proving me wrong when I think that maybe he's going to have a down game. And I think Wake can be gotten on the ground. So I'll take the over.
I think we're going to see a heavy dose of running the football too. Because Wake, when you saw teams stray away from the run, that's when they struggled offensively. Hopefully Dino and Sterling recognize that you got to stick with the run. And if Sean Tucker is your guy running the football, I like his chances of picking up some like 6-7 yard chunk plays throughout the game. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go with the over here, 105.5. The only trouble is if they go down early, like if they're down 14-0, they might try to throw the ball a little bit more. But even if that's the case, I say you still stick with the running game. You got to stick with it if you're Syracuse. Next up, Syracuse's sacks over under 2.5. We're setting the number at here.
So Cuse, I think, is second in the country right now in sacks, or maybe second in the ACC because Wake is first. Wake has sacked the quarterback 21 times in 5 games. Syracuse 20 times in 5 games.
Which worries me, by the way.
Yeah, that is not great for us. And
if you needed any more reason to get Garrett Shrader outside the pocket and use Elmore and Mang as blockers, extra help on that offensive line, there you have it.
Right. No, it's true. That part does scare me as well, and that's part of the reason why I'm a little worried about this game. But I will take Syracuse to go under just slightly. Wake, you talked about a 1.4 sacks allowed per game so far, I think. So, I mean, 2.5 is kind of right around where it should be. I could see with the home crowd, a couple third downs, they're going to bring the pressure maybe to get to 3, but I'll take the under there because Sam Hartman, he's not going to wow us, but he's a smart quarterback back there.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. We'll say the same thing when we face Kenny Pickett in a little bit, but
Yeah.
feels like he's been there forever. He's seen the Syracuse defense for a number of years too. So I'm going to go with the under as well on this one. I just think this is a Wake Forest offensive line that does not let up a lot of sacks. They're best in the ACC in sack prevention right now. So I'm gonna take Syracuse to go under on that 2.5. First Syracuse touchdown here. It was Garrett Shrader on the ground last week. So we've got Sean Tucker plus 110, Shrader on a run plus 170, Quealy plus 350, Abdul Adams plus 450, Courtney Jackson plus 550, Damian Alford at 600, and then an other or defensive touchdown at 650. Where are you sitting here?
Well, it's funny because I feel like Tucker and Shrader are like the only options for our touchdowns at this point.
Yeah.
Like Shrader running or Tucker running. Quealy wouldn't shock me, I guess. And I could see Abdul Adams having a sneaky, decent game here. I think he's been sort of working his way into more reps. And the further we go into the season, the more you probably want to even out the distribution between him and Sean Tucker. But I will lean with Tucker. He didn't score a touchdown last week. He's plus 110. I've been riding him throughout the season. I feel like it's either Shrader or Tucker that's going to get the first touchdown, in my opinion. So I'll just take Tucker.
I'll go with Shrader. I'll flip on you here. I just think they're going to be able to move the ball, get some first downs. And when you get into that red zone area, it seems like they really lean on Garrett Shrader to finish off some of these drives. So I'm going to go with Garrett Shrader at the plus 170 here. All right. Enough of us. We have given you our breakdown of this game. We'll get you the spread and all that stuff in just a little bit. But it is now time for an advanced analytics report where we bring in Anthony Dabbundo from the Action Network. Here it is with Dabbundo's Digits.
The numbers you need to know. Anthony Dabbundo breaks down the biggest stats for this week's Syracuse matchup. Everybody! Dabbundo's Digits. If you ain't taking stats, get the out the class. On the Locked On Syracuse Podcast.
Where you at? Let's go. Saturday's loss to Florida State was a game of mixed signals for the Syracuse offense. On one hand, Garrett Shrader broke multiple big runs with his feet and took advantage of the Seminoles' bad linebacker play to add some juice to the offense following a bad start. But on the other hand, Syracuse had a 14% success rate on passing downs, which is very bad. Shrader didn't have any turnovers, good. The Cuse offense averaged 6.2 yards per play, also good. But 2 for 12 on third down is less than impressive, though. Syracuse will lean on Sean Tucker in this game, who has the third highest usage rate in the country and the highest percentage of his team's yards from scrimmage in all of FBS football. Tucker and the Orange's 14th highest run rate in the country face a really strong defensive line that ranks 14th in line yards allowed, but isn't quite as good at stopping the run overall. The Demon Deacons are 75th in rushing success rate allowed. The game is an intriguing matchup on both sides of the ball because the Wake secondary can be had, but SU isn't going to exploit that much with Shrader at quarterback. Wake's defensive line is its best unit, as the Deeks have the edge in pass rush and line yards against the Syracuse offensive line, but the Orange should be able to run the ball a little bit here. Wake is 22nd in defensive havoc created, which is forced fumbles and tackles for loss. That's big because Wake might be able to get Syracuse into more passing downs and long distance third downs than they'd like. On the other side of the ball, the Wake Forest offense is the calling card. They've been electric through the air. Wake's 33rd in passing success rate, 9th in pass blocking, which means quarterback Sam Hartman probably is going to have time to throw and probably be able to move the chains for the Demon Deacons through the air. But he's going up against a really good pass defense. Cuse is now 2nd in big play defense in the country, 5th in pass coverage grade by PFF, and 33rd in PFF's tackling grade, which took a little bit of a dip after last week. All three of those are recipes to stop big plays from happening. Prevent coverage busts, tackle well, and make Wake methodically drive the ball down the field is how Cuse keeps this game close. One area where Tony White's defense has struggled, though, of late is in defensive finishing drives. The Orange had one big goal line stop against Liberty that everybody remembers in that fourth quarter, but the defense is down to 53rd in finishing drives after they allowed Florida State to score 5.67 points per scoring opportunity on Saturday. They'll need to hold Wake to more field goals if they want to keep this game close. And despite Wake's good passing offense, they're actually not that pass-heavy of a team. They're 44th in run rate in the country. They play at a pretty fast tempo, even faster than Syracuse. They rank 14th in tempo. The one major concern for Syracuse here, if the offense can't sustain drives, it will be harder to get stops against Wake's efficient pass offense and up-tempo play. They can move the chains methodically and wear down the Syracuse defense. But that same Syracuse defense has the best offensive explosiveness allowed and third lowest success rate allowed on passing downs in the ACC. That's mostly third downs and second and long. What that means is they don't allow a lot of big plays on third down, and they do not allow teams to move the chains much. What does that mean in this game? Well, if they can get off the field, they've got a good shot to keep this game close, and Shrader has to keep creating explosive plays with his feet. It's just about the only case for him to start, given his passing inefficiency. If he can break some big runs, which Wake is prone to, especially on third down, that could be the key to keeping this game close. I actually think Syracuse will. I think it's going to be a fun game on Saturday. Everybody enjoy the game, and go Orange.
Our thanks to Anthony, as always, for giving us all of the advanced analytics here. Listen, he's been pretty spot on with a lot of his analysis and how these numbers have played out in a lot of these different games for Syracuse. So we appreciate him hopping on. Check out his work at the Action Network. He's got like 13,000 followers on the Action Network. If you are using the lines and stuff with BetOnline.ag, follow him. You will make money. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony Dabbundo. Follow him on
MLB
the Action Network as well.
Too. I'm sure he's going to
MLB playoffs. I think he hit on the Red Sox the other day too. So, he's humming right now. So
good pick, Dabbundo. I love it.
Definitely. Yep. You got to check him out on the Action Network. And also our thanks, as always, to Owen Valentine, who does all the graphic specs and stuff for that intro video. If you're on YouTube, you saw it. It's great. So shout out to our guy, Owen Valentine, as well. All right. Thank you for making Syracuse Locked on Syracuse your first listen. We're with you every single weekday. When we come back, we will get you all the odds that you need to know from betonline.ag. We'll get you our spread picks, our total picks, and the rationale why. Because betonline.ag is back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for yet another football season. And boy, has it been a good one so far. College, pro, all that stuff. BetOnline is your number one spot for all the football action this fall. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be your source for everything football. So head on over to the website or use your phone to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. All you got to do is punch in our promo code Locked On. Sign up today. Promo code Locked On, and you will get a 50% welcome bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, the baseball playoffs underway, all the way to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. Do what Tim and I do. Sign up with betonline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. Bet online, where the game starts. Let's dive into the spread here, courtesy of our friends at betonline.ag. It opened at 7.5. Syracuse was a touchdown and a chair on the opening line. That has since plummeted 2 points as of us recording this. They are down to 5.5 now. This, to me, is a very suspect drop. I'm not surprised that it got to the 7. I'm surprised it has dipped below 6, though.
Yeah, it is surprising. Look, I hope I'm wrong, but I do think Wake's a legit team. I think they looked really good last week against Louisville. Really good might be a stretch because their defense allowed 34 points, but offensively they scared me. And I do think that they're going to score points regardless of how good our defenses look this year. And then the question becomes, how much is Sterling Gilbert going to use that playbook he used in the second half last week? And how much is Syracuse going to be able to score points? And I think they'll hang with them. I think it'll be a competitive game from start to finish. But I think Wake just has more pieces. They're a more complete team right now. They're more two-dimensional, and they're tougher to game plan for, probably.
Wake's got the horses in the stable right now with the receivers, the running back. Like, the offensive weapons on that team far outweigh what Syracuse has right now. We can talk about Sean Tucker all we want. We can talk about Garrett Shrader coming into his own, too, as well. But the receiving core leaves a lot to be desired for Syracuse. And I think that's something that's going to start to bite them as we continue through ACC play. If they had a couple more guys, listen, I like the prospects right now of Damian Alford and Arande Gadsden. Those seem like two guys that can get there eventually. I don't know if they can get there this year. A little more confident in Alford than Gadsden, just because Gadsden is a true freshman. But Courtney Jackson has put together a couple of Courtney Jackson games. A lot to be desired there. Anthony Quealy, I think, needs to step up a little bit. What's it going to look like for him as a number one receiver? When I see that 5.5 number, I wouldn't be surprised that come Saturday morning, there's a little bit of Wake Forest buyback maybe, and we'll see this number get to 6, 6.5, maybe venture its way all the way back up to 7. I'm going to roll with Wake at a 5.5 here. I'm going to roll with Wake Forest.
So, quick proposition for you on my pick. You
Okay.
know this, the listeners don't, but I'm off to Vegas this weekend for my friend's
You are,
bachelor
that's
party.
right.
Right. So, I'm going to be there. I have to pick the Syracuse game, right? And I'm with a couple friends from Syracuse. Like, I'm going to be
So the wedding's
hoping to pick
Saturday, right?
Syracuse.
You're going for a wedding.
No,
Or no, it's a bachelor party. It's a bachelor party. So yeah, that's right.
Wedding's in November. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. I'm definitely going to be watching the game. I'll definitely gamble on the game. I was thinking, and I was talking with one of my friends.
I'm taking off from the Twitter account this week. We want Tim's drunk Vegas thoughts on this game.
I'll do it. I'll give it to
on
you.
our account at
Absolutely.
LO_Syracuse. Yes,
Good
that's
call.
okay. I'm taking the week off. I'm gonna maybe I'll splash a few things in here or there.
Sure.
Maybe I'll like translate some tweets for the
You'll
people.
give a roll Garrett Shrader out of the pocket in all caps once or twice, probably.
Yeah. Although you'll probably do it too, because if you've got the good time juice flowing, like that, who knows? But yeah, no, you're gonna have a blast out there. So yes, you do have to pick this game while you're out there.
Right. So here's my thinking, and I was talking to my friend who's a big Syracuse fan as well. He was saying if we're on a cold
who's going
streak,
with you?
Yes, I was saying
Okay.
he was saying if we're on a cold streak, we take Wake because you can't win when you're on a cold streak, and then we'll feel happy. We'll do the right thing. I'm sure the listeners will be happy that I'll be the sacrificial lamb out there. I'm happy to lose money. In
well,
Vegas.
you have to take him on the money line, though. You have to take him on the
Yeah.
money line there, or otherwise you could get caught in no man's land, right in that middle.
So take Wake on the money line. If we're on a hot streak, I think we just ride it, baby, and go all in on Syracuse. So what I'm telling you is I'm going to table my pick. I will send you the slip. I'll give you the BetOnline.ag screenshot, but I'll let you know what I go with. But I'm going to determine based on my streak, I think, how I'm leaning.
All right. That I will allow you to wait this one out. I appreciate you doing this, being the man on the front lines for this entire operation here. Let's get into something that you can pick here, though. That is the total for this game that's been set at 57 right now. Believe that's the highest total we've seen for a Syracuse game this season, if memory is serving me correct here, which is crazy given that Albany game that was set at 44 against an FCS opponent.
Right.
But 57, highest total of the season so far. Where are you leaning here?
So I'm leaning on the over right now, but I will say Wake has only hit the under 1 of 5 times so far, or the over, sorry, 1 of 5 times so far. Syracuse has only hit the over 2 of 5 times, and that was one of them against Albany, which we've talked about. I mean, Sean Tucker scored 44 on his own, I think, in that game. I don't know why they set it at 44. It made no sense to me, so I don't even really count that. So two teams that have consistently been going under, but the history of this series says that the overs happen. And I think now that we're in ACC play, the play is to go with the overs, thinking back to last week's game. And I think that's why Vegas has bumped this up a little bit, because you think about how Syracuse played against Florida State. That was an over. Wake Forest, Louisville, high scoring. That Pitt, Georgia Tech game was wild. I just think we're going to see overs in ACC play this year. So I'm going to take the over, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like the over in this game as well. I mean, let's be honest, like Wake Forest can put a 40 up themselves. Like that's caliber of offense that they might have. So then you're asking Syracuse to get you 17. I think Syracuse can get you 17. And if Wake is scoring 40, there will be garbage time to be had. So I'm going to go with the over here as well, of 57. I think both of these offenses, Syracuse is starting to find something. Wake has something. So we'll see. This all depends on Sterling Gilbert getting Garrett Shrader out of the pocket. Cut the field in half. Throw out all those plays where you're not getting him out of the pocket. It's a simple concept with him. It's so simple.
Yeah,
you and I see it. All of our Twitter followers see it. Everyone sees it. It can't make more sense. Hopefully, Dino and Sterling see it by the time we get to Saturday, because there's one game plan that works. There's literally one game plan that works with this team: running the ball and getting Shrader out of the pocket. All right. That is going to do it for us here on this edition of the Locked On Syracuse podcast. Check out all of our other stuff throughout the week, too. We've been breaking down Wake Forest, breaking down some basketball stuff as well. We get these preview pods out to you guys a little bit earlier as well, so you can dive into everything Wake Forest. Thank you for Anthony Dabbundo for hopping on the show with us today for Dabundo's Digits. And thank you guys for listening, making Locked On Syracuse your first listen of the day each single day. And also be sure to check out Locked On ACC. Make that your second listen. They're breaking down all the ACC action. I know they dive into Syracuse on Fridays, so check it out with Candace Cooper. She's got you covered all things ACC. For Tim, I'm Tyler. Enjoy the game. We will be